Welcome back to my channel. It is day 3 of the Vlogmas series for 2020. This is actually my first time doing it, so it's kind of exciting. So today's topic, we are going to be talking about state certifications for your contracting business. Yes, you heard that right. We're going to dig these next couple of days. We are going to be digging deep into certifications and exactly what they are and why you need them for your business. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So the government itself, if you've reviewed or seen any of my previous videos, I talk a lot about the set-aside program and what it is and why you need the certifications, right? So the government itself has a set-aside program specifically for small businesses. This program actually helps limit your competition. You know how you get that feeling of, there's companies that have been in business for years. They have all this experience. How can I compete with them? Well, this program is actually used for that. It's so that you can compete with businesses who are just like you, meaning who are in the same size frame as you when it comes to doing government contracts. Now, the basic requirements for the set-aside contracts, of course, you have to be a small business. You will have to have your DUNS number. If you don't know how to get your DUNS number, I will list the link for you to go and get that. You will also need your NEX codes, right? If you do not have your NEX codes, I'll provide that link for you to go and find those. You will also have to meet the company standard size, which is less than 500 employees. And I believe your annual receipts have to be at under 7 million, I believe, which most companies, they do fit within that, especially if you're just starting out. They do fit within that size frame. And then you also have to get registered within SAMS. Now, within SAMS, when you register, it's automatically going to send you to a link that's going to have you request your cage code. So again, if you don't know where to go and get your SAMS, do your SAMS registration, I will provide that link as well. Now, for the set-aside program, again, it's for the small businesses. It's directly for us. It's so that we can get into the game and be like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be doing work. I'm going to be working with the federal government. So each of these programs, the program itself, it goes based off of percentage, right? So they have these specific contracts within the government playing field that has to go to 3 to 5% of small businesses. How do they define this? Off of certifications. That's why I tell people it's so important to get your certifications, because even if you're a small business and you say, hey, I'm a woman, I own a small business, if you don't have your certification, you're not going to apply. You're not going to be able to apply for that specific contract that you're wanting, right? Or if you say, hey, I'm a minority, I fit this description, but you don't have your certification, you can't apply for it. You do have to be 51% owned. So that's 51% owned by a woman, 51% owned by a minority, 51% owned by a veteran, whatever the case is. You have to be 51% owned. That's usually the standard when it comes to these certifications. You do have to be managing the day-to-day. That's holding the meetings. That's, making connections. That's, making the long-term decisions. You have to be in the day-to-day of this business in order to qualify for the certification. And a lot of people say, well, how would they know that I'm in the day-to-day? Trust me, when you go and you submit that certification and they ask you for specific paperwork, that is how they're going to find out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you 3 different certifications that you can apply for within your actual state. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, or better known as the DBE. This certification you can actually apply for via the SBA website, which I will link that in this video for you guys. Now, for the set-aside program, this is very big. The Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, or DBE, each contract has to have at least 5% of a disadvantaged business in it. Now, a lot of people say, well, what was one question my client, she was like, is there a way around that they don't have to give that percentage? No, there is not. We are dealing with the federal government. Once they set their rules, once they set what is required of a specific contract, they have to follow that. So 5% of the government contracts has to go to a DBE, or a disadvantaged business enterprise. Now, you do, in order to qualify for this specific certification, you do have to be 51% owned. So it does have to be 51% owned by a disadvantaged person. Meaning, you have to, again, be making the day-to-day decisions. You have to be in the day-to-day of this company in order to qualify for this certification. Another certification, the big one, minority business enterprise, I don't know why I said that, or better known as the MBE. Now, you can apply for this one via the National Minority Supplier Council, or you can research your state United Certifications program and apply there. Now, 5% of the contracts have to go to the minority owned, which is a big percentage, right? Remember I said 3 to 5%. So 5% of the government contracts does go to minority owned. In order to qualify for this certification, you do have to have someone who is a minority at 51% ownership of the company. And I'm trying to think what else. Minority is a big one. I would say out of all of them, minority and woman owned, just because there are so many different programs that the government offers for us, and that helps us be at an advantage when it comes to working in the government sector. The next one is going to be the woman business enterprise and the economically disadvantaged woman enterprise. In a later video, I think it's day 5 or 6, I actually go into detail about the woman-owned certification. So I won't dig too deep into it today, just because I want to save that for a later video for you guys. But you can apply for this certification via the SBA. Again, I'm going to link that in this video for you guys so that you can go directly to it. 5% of the set-aside contracts goes to woman-owned. Same with the minority. Again, most of these certifications, their qualifications are pretty much the same. It does have to be 51% owned by a woman. Yes, you do have to prove it. The woman must hold the highest position within the business. So, that's owner, or some people use officer, some people use president, some people use CEO. Whatever term that you put on your LLC paperwork, that's what you want to use for here. Now, the woman-owned certification did change a little bit, and I'm also doing a video on that, so I'll say those specifics for that video. But you can no longer self-certify when it comes to the woman-owned certification. Another one I want to talk about, and I just thought of this, but the economically disadvantaged enterprise. You can apply for this via the fbo.gov. A lot of these you'll know you can apply via the SBA. But this is also another state certification that you want to look into. Same qualifications, 51%, managing the day-to-day, making the decisions. And you'll notice when it comes to all these certifications, they pretty much have the same qualifications, unless you're stepping into the 8A or veteran-owned and disabled veteran. Those and hub zone, which I'll talk about that in the next video. So those have a little bit of different, just because those have specific person type qualifications that you have to have. But we'll get into those a little later in these within this series. The last thing is, I always tell people, apply before you need them. Reason why is because if a contract comes up today, or you receive a bid or proposal, and you have to have those certifications, especially with government contracting, and and you have to have those certifications, you're not going to be ready. You're not going to be able to bid on that specific contract because they do require up to 90 days for these certifications. Some certifications take longer than that. So I would recommend apply before you are ready. Take a look and see what certifications do you want to apply for. What certifications are you looking at applying for over your Christmas break? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 4.